Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We're going to continue our journey in discovering one new Chinese expression a day. Yesterday, we talked about 万劫不复. It's a Chinese way to say doomed, like English, which is such a simple, easy word. And I wasn't sure. I didn't look up like what doomed came from, but probably some religious meaning. And here in 万劫不复, also we have a little bit of attachment to religion, which is this Buddhism concept of reincarnation. So basically, you have your life cycle. You start your life, birth and death, right? This is one loop, and the 劫 is one of these life cycle. And then 10,000 times, basically, it's a Chinese big number. And that means infinity almost. We use that as super big number. It's unfathomably big number. You're not going to live 10,000 times, right? Like that's too many to even imagine. So we use that big number to mean infinity. And 不复 means you're not going to return it. Something really bad happened and this loop was interrupted. So that's 万劫不复. Another interpretation, actually, 万劫不复 means 万劫 simply means forever. So forever no return means it's one way. Once the damage is done, it's irreversible. You're going one way, doomed. Okay, so that's 万劫不复. Today we have 晚节不保. I find it interesting because these two expressions sound almost overlapping, like 万劫不复, doomed. 晚节不保, totally different meaning. And the only thing they share is 不 is a negation. And they're talking about different things. Okay, 晚节不保. 晚 means late. Okay, we have the sun symbol. So sun symbol used as timing. It's understandable, right? Okay, we have this. I guess it's a stylized. So basically, it's a sphere. Originally, it was a sphere, right? With a horizontal line means energy from the sphere, and that's the definition of the sun, at least from the human perspective. And then the right side means removal. Eventually, and it's open to interpretation, like why that's removal. We know the top figure here is it's side view human figure. Almost that person is squatting or something, but of course this is in abstraction. It may not be totally depicting that. So originally human figure looks like this, kind of looking like this. But when this human figure was framed with other characters to make a composite, meaning or pieced together visually, it's squashed, right? So it was when I put on to the left, it's elongated to this long, right? But when I put it to the top, it's squashed. So it become looking like this, but symbol-wise, it's the human figure. And at the bottom, it looks like something is opening, right? So I don't know, okay, what exactly this symbol looks like. According to scholars, this means the hat, because this two-leg thing is again human figure, and this oval shape is kind of like a cap sitting on top of that two-leg thing. It's positionally wise, it looks like the hat, but I don't know if that's the case. In any case, the whole, like eventually this human figure plus something else, potentially a hat, becomes the meaning of remove or dismissal. So a day dismissal or a day in dismissal means it's really late, almost like the day is almost done. A day in dismissal, that's the definition of late. Okay, 节, we have the bamboo symbol on the top. So it's convex shape with vertical lines looking like this, two of them. So it's bamboo. It almost looks like the draping bamboo leaves, right? It's a visual representation of bamboo. And then the bottom is 季, pronounced as 季, and you can see this is 季. Paired in here becomes 节. It was the sound symbol, right? But always try to find meaning in the sound symbol. 记 originally came from these two symbols. The two symbols, the left side is cookware. So even if it looks like the sun, it's even more circular. But this was the cookware. And the top portion is the lid with a handle in it. Okay. The bottom probably is the stand of the cookware. So cookware standing somewhere because you don't want to hunch over to eat it. Ancient time probably doesn't have table like what we do have nowadays. So it's a kind of a stand to lift it, to elevate it. So it's roughly your mouth like level. And then this person kneeling sideways. Okay, this is a person kneeling. It's hard to see in this shape now, but imagine this. It's almost like a yoga pose nowadays, or the Japanese way of sitting, because they preserve the ancient behavior traits a lot of times. When they are eating, they sit knee folded. So this is the knee folded. And this long line actually is a perpendicular, the heel, like going upward. So this is the feet, full length of the feet in perpendicular to the floor. And that's how when you're kneeling, you're sitting on your heels. And that's how you, like before chair was invented, that's how people sit. And that's how people eat, sitting squarely, kneeling, sitting on your heels throughout dining. Imagine that, how many people in contemporary society can kneel or kneel that long to finish a dining experience. Now, what I can imagine, extremely painful for a lot of people. I haven't tried that. Maybe I can try that today to see if I can do that. But that was an ancient practice. So here is a person sitting on heels, ready to eat. And here is a pot of food on a stand. So this human food looking at each other. I'm not sure if the food are looking at human, but human definitely looking at the food, trying to eat. And that's framed in here. It's almost like a snapshot capturing this moment of ready to eat. And Chinese as a culture emphasize eating. So we value the taste and the process, the food so much. Like it's a really a culture overloaded with eating sensories. And so this eating moment, like a ready to eat moment, is how eager that person is to get to the food. But at the same time, the person reserves. You have to keep your posture sitting straight on your heels. And just like a dining manner, table manners, right? In the West, there are certain postures you have to hold yourself, you have to carry yourself while eating. I can imagine in ancient times, sitting on heels, eating also have a certain posture requirement. And so you have to look composed, not to like ready to eat like that, right? So this is that moment. Eventually this character ji means immediacy, like ready to eat, immediately going to happen. And I also want to, especially when now together, put together, it means moral, right? That means a self-preservation or discipline. Like you have something ready in front of you and you preserve, you hold yourself back not to lose your posture and to, I guess, ceremonially or culturally acceptably, like look civilized to eat in a good manner. So that's the control, like self-discipline, self-control, of course, is disciplined or expected by the culture. And then with bamboo, the bamboo has the joint of different pieces, right? If you look at a bamboo in a park or somewhere, bamboo have this joint part, and this jie eventually means that joint on the bamboo. So we have the bamboo symbol over here, paired with this control, this immediacy, but at the same time, it also shows control. You didn't get over the food yet, right? And this self-control paired with bamboo eventually means the joint of the bamboo. And people often use that joint, because that joint is narrower than the rest of the bamboo stem. So that joint almost visually looks like a confining or a binding of the bamboo. So the bamboo joint used to, personify, or humans try to use the bamboo joint to self-refer the control, the constraint, or the discipline of oneself. And eventually this self-discipline extended more directional to moral discipline. It doesn't mean you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not that kind of discipline. But 节 means you have food in front of you. But you'll probably wait for all the family members in the house to gather in front of food before you start eat, right? That's good table manner. So that's kind of self-control. And with that, ready to eat image extended into this moral, like you behave self-constrained so that, you'll be a responsible member of the society. So that's 节. Okay, 不保, 不 again is a negation. We have this original space, new space, and then from the original space, that's the baseline, we're going into the new space, and that's the negation to the original space. As it was that, don't want to reiterate that too much. Okay, 保. Again, human figure, say. This is directly depicting human behavior now. The right side, we don't often see circle. Well, I was wrong. We have circles here, we have circles here, but circle this circular, it's not that often see, right? Oftentimes the circle becomes oval shape or a little bit boxy shape, but this is pretty circle. And that's the big circular head of the baby. And these is the two arms. So besides these two strokes over here on the side, the whole thing depicting a baby. Big-headed, two arms reaching up, and the torso. So the legs were invisible here. Probably baby's not, like in a bundle, probably not supposed to walk. That's the image of the baby. But the babies called mothers mostly crying or reaching out a hand. So upper body posture, mostly from the baby. That's baby, human figure. And the two side ones, I would like to imagine, it means you're trying to hold the baby. You're trying to keep them safely, right? And some scholars say, okay, this baby placed on this hunched, human figure on the side, that means mother holding baby on the back. I mean, it's up to interpretation, but for me, this simply is a human figure, and this is a human baby. And then we have two hands next to the human baby, a simplified hands to mean like humans are holding hands on the baby to protect the baby. So this becomes a concept of protection, and protection becomes kind of like caring, maintaining, keeping. So eventually it becomes keep, to maintain the status quo so things don't break or babies don't get injured or something like that, right? So 晚节不保 altogether means, I translate it as almost ideal. It's not an ideal translation, definitely not, because 晚节不保, you can see the 4 characters, it has negation and it has 晚节. What does 晚节mean first? Okay, it means somebody who has been behaving so well throughout their life. And when it comes to the dismissing hours of the day, which means the dismissing hours or days of their life. So in a lifetime, that's the late stage, sunset stage of the life. Basically, somebody who is senior, who is already done most part of their life, they have done their part to be a responsible part of their family, their society. And when it comes to late stage, I know some people have this stereotype of older people, they may almost earn their liberty to be more of themselves rather than to comply to society's constraint on people anymore. But as a Chinese culture have a lot of expectations on how people behave, right? From the eating posture, right? As an example. So this 节, like you're supposed to keep within that boundary, that self-discipline, that moral high ground they're supposed to do there. But 晚节, like when people at a senior age, 不保 means they cannot maintain that societal confinement on people anymore. And as a result, they may do something that's kind of shocking to other people because this is not a typical you, right? This is not a, the ideal morally high ground or our revered figure, especially one means some senior people, gray hair, right? And they're supposed to be, doing well, have a good track record for their life, and then we view them with respect, with a lot of revere, something like that, and then it turned out to be a shocking event, something that person did, kind of shattered our perception of that person. So that's the whole context of a 晚节不保. So I translate it as almost ideal to capture that there are certain ideal expectation, and this lifetime wise within the lifespan is almost ideal, except toward the very end somebody simply break away from this ideal, and that may be good or bad, maybe positive or negative, we don't know, it has to be contextualized. But this 晚节不保 simply means somebody is not holding up to the standard or expectation of that person, and it's kind of a new understanding of that person. A lot of times it's, I guess, is negative because society do want you to behave in a certain way, right? And if you have achieved something, accomplished something, people already pin you up somewhere. And how can you afford to drop yourself down and shatter people's expectations of you, right? So this kind of like a little bit judging of that person. And here I just show this digital book of somebody is claiming and they are 晚节不保. So they kind of have a behavior change that's kind of shocking to people surround them. That's 晚节不保. Okay, cash into the thinking by one more day with Sophie. See you next time.